NewGenGamers.com.
Welcome everybody to another New Gen Gamers Console Wars of the Past here. Today we are taking a look at the classic Atari 5200. And
Classic indeed.
We are starting out here with the perennial Atari classic Breakout. This is Super Breakout. And as you can see, we have the three amigos once again here. It's Ray.
I'm Ron.
I'm Duck.
Duck is the one that's playing right now.
He's trying to break out. We don't know of what, but he's got this little...
It's a wall of bricks, and I guess you're in a prison or something? I don't know. I guess in Atari land you just make up your own story.
Whatever you want it to be. Some sort of space doom, I believe. And, you know, this was kind of an upgrade of the Pong design. You can't really play Pong by yourself, so... This is kind of the one-player version of Pong with a twist, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, Breakout was one of Atari's biggest hits right after Pong.
It was one of their breakouts.
One of their breakout hits, yes. And as you can see, Duck's having a little trouble moving around a lot in this. It's mainly due to the 5200 control pad. There we go. It's a little flimsy, at best.
Yeah, it's pretty crappy, is actually the more apt term.
How many times do we have to take this damn thing apart to get it to work right?
Yeah, the system is over 25 years old now, and they were very poorly made. They didn't use rubber on the trackball, so it just kind of rolls around in this stiff plastic casing on the inside of the joystick, so it's tough to keep working right, and the circuit board on the inside has a carbon filament, and so they get covered in guck over time, so you have to replace that. And
nice.
And it's just not that good. You have a giant keypad on it.
The keypad, it really doesn't make use of it that much.
No.
At least not in the games that we have.
No, there wasn't a whole lot of support for it. Most of the games for the system that actually made it out were arcade ports, so they didn't have that and didn't really need that.
Yeah, most of the games supported just the four fire buttons on the side, which, I don't know, do you think that's a bit much back in that time?
They, again, weren't all used to their full capacity. It was like they were trying for a lot with it, and they were really trying to compete head-to-head with the Intellivision. And, you know, there was a couple launch titles when it came out. This was one of them. They also had Galaxian and Space Invaders, huge arcade hits.
Which were really good translations, as you can tell. I mean, the graphics on this compared to the 2600 just blow it away.
Yeah,
the games look great.
It's a definite upgrade from the 2600 and superior to the Intellivision in a lot of ways. It could have up to 256 colors, which the Intellivision had, I think, 16 different colors. So, huge difference there. Only 16 of them could be on screen at a time, though. So here we're getting to see a nice little gamut of colors. We have some green, blue, red, yellow, white, and black. Look at that. So this was
it's a rainbow.
Yes. So obviously this game isn't pushing the graphical limits of the system here.
This is the tech demo.
And what I also find interesting with this version of Breakout is
what happened there.
You only get 5 balls, and I think because it's just hard to control. This would be a good one for the trackball peripheral.
Yeah, they made a massive trackball for this system, and its main function was games like this, where you only needed, you know, a little bit of control.
Oh, look at this early cheating! And this brings up the pause button, which the 5200 had on the controller.
Which is a nice addition, because I've always lamented about having pause buttons on consoles. It just made no sense to me. If you're going to pause the game, you're probably going to die before you can make it across the room to touch the console. So having the pause button on the controller is actually a really novel idea.
And as you can see here, that isn't a glitch in our video, folks.
That's him pausing the game.
That's him cheating. You can add your own version of slow-mo with the 5200.
And it pauses
Except it's
really
not
well.
that doesn't start up that quickly. But hey, if you're in a bind,
hit the
you
pause
can do
button.
So,
well, I think I've seen enough of us breaking these bricks here. Let us.
Honestly, I could never get enough of this.
Well, if we were playing on something that had a little bit tighter control.
This is a great game and still fun to this day. Duck looks like he's having some fun with it. But it's tough to play with this joystick. It's really, really hard. It's way too sensitive. See how quickly that moves?
See, this would be a game I prefer the paddle on, to be honest with you.
Yeah, this would be a lot better with a paddle or the trackball.
Yeah, the original arcade version, I believe, used the trackball. Which, we'll keep going back to this on the really good arcade ports on this.
Yeah,
about how well the arcade translated over. So let's take a look at another arcade smash that made its way to the 5200. Continuing on here, we're taking a look at Defender. Who wants to have a run at Defender?
So Ron is going to have a run at Defender right now.
Now this is where the keypad comes into play.
Now let's talk a little bit about
easy.
The overlays that came with the Atari 5200. Obviously, these overlays the idea was stolen from.
Intellivision was one of the first ones to have overlays.
Now I know that the Intellivision's overlays were quite graphic. You know, they would tell you how to move your character, but these overlays really are pretty pointless. Most of them are just skill level settings.
Yeah, they really had very small use for the overlays on the 5200.
And most of the games didn't even release with overlays, so it was kind of one of those things that weren't needed.
Yeah, see, overlays for the Intellivision, the overlays actually played a part because they made games that were complicated enough to utilize the overlays, where you needed to use all the buttons. There were a few 5200 games like Star Raiders that used that extra buttons that you would have on the controller, but most of it was just for system settings and play styles. Like we'll be trying out football later, where you can choose formations and plays and everything. But other than that, most of the overlays were just press start here or 2-player here.
Yes, absolutely.
And we're having another issue with the controller.
Yes, the controllers for the 5200, I don't know how else to say it.
Was a whore.
Yeah, they're really bad. But this isn't just because we're playing on a system that's over 25 years old. It's simply, whenever it was released back in 1982, people were having the same issues with it. And I think that really played into it not doing so well. But eventually they did release an adapter for the system that would allow you to play 2600 games and also use the original remote controls.
Yeah, there's an interesting story behind that one too, because with the 5200, ColecoVision was what ended up being its main competitor, and when Coleco came out, they put out an adapter that allowed you to play 2600 games. Unfortunately, the Atari 5200, which was Atari's system, and their successor to the 2600, did not have backwards compatibility. So, they needed to make an adapter to actually compete with ColecoVision, who was playing their games.
If you think ColecoVision plays all Atari cartridges...
You mean it can't?
Here's Pac-Man on ColecoVision. But here's Pac-Man on the Atari 5200 Super System.
Now you're talking.
And it doesn't work on ColecoVision.
But won't Jungle Hunt?
Not with real arcade graphics.
Ms. Pac-Man?
This Ms. plays only on the Atari 5200 Super System. And now there's an adapter.
For 2600 games?
Nearly 300 2600 games.
Super.
System, now with a $30 rebate and Pac-Man from Atari.
New Gen Gamers.com.